Welcome back. Thank y'all for joining me again on this focus on values. All right, we're going to be talking about family values. No, we're talking about umber, raw umber to white. And this is pure raw umber, and I've added a little bit more white, till it's mostly white here, and then I'm keeping my pure white here. What I've got mixed up over here is my medium. It's a mixture of oleo gel, which is made by Rublev, and Wilson's medium, also made by Rublev. And the Wilson's medium is a little bit of a drier. It's much safer to use with oil painting than a traditional dryer, and all it's going to do is kind of help the paint to set up a little bit quicker. So what I'm going to do is we're going to start with the finding the size and placement of this black and white photo of my still life that I'm looking at in real life. We're going to do the size and placement. Then we're going to do like a value study or a value underpainting. And then I'm going to give it a break and come back and add color on top of it. So it'll be a multi-step process, and I want that underlay to kind of get set up really nice before I start adding other color onto it. So that's why I've added the Wilson's medium to this. Okay, so I'm picking up my next to darkest color. I could have used umber, but I'm just going to use this one. And I'm going to do a couple of marks here. Now, I'm not being precious. I'm not being too serious about any of these, because none of these marks I just made are going to end up in the final painting. They're all going to be in the underpainting. But what I am going to do is I'm just going to use them as a way to guide myself in how and where things are going to go. And there's a couple different ways that you can do the size and placement. You can do like a mass drawing, or you can do an envelope drawing. I think a really good way to start off with when you are a beginner is an envelope drawing. And so that's what I'm going to show you here. So one of the first things you want to try to figure out, or at least I do, is do you have a table edge? And the way that we're looking at it, we're looking at the table edge, yes. So we do want that table edge in there. So we need to think about that. Where's that table edge going to go? And then I also want to think about what is the tallest object. Well, that is that in this painting, the spittoon. And what we're wanting is the tallest object to be not more than about 2/3 of the height of the painting. Now we've got it in a landscape mode because I think that things are going to fit better. It's going to be a little bit more comfortable in a landscape mode. You could easily do it in a portrait where it's flipped up 90 degrees if you wanted to. This is the way I'm choosing to go. So I've got my my prospect tool here, and this is a proportional divider, but all that I'm going to use it for here is just to get a measurement of this is what that is going to be looking like. Now, what would that look like if I put it here? And I want to think about, this will be the bottom, this will be the top of it, and I want to think about room to breathe. I want to think about everything in this painting having room to breathe. And I'm looking at that going, is that enough room to breathe? So I could make it a little bit smaller. So there's nothing that says, see here, it's not quite to 2/3. There's nothing in all the rules of painting that says that you have to make it 2/3. You just don't want to make it more than 2/3 the height of your panel. I think that this looks good and this placement looks good. It feels really good. Another thing to also keep in mind is that when we're looking at a painting, if we have the last object here almost at the edge, we can tolerate that better than the same thing being over here. So if we're going to have a empty space, we'd rather it be on the left-hand side because we start reading on the left and we read left to right. That's how we read paintings here in the West. So if we're thinking about that, we want to have a little bit more leading edge to kind of bring the eye in on the left-hand side of the painting. So when we think about that, the spittoon's going to end up being a little bit more or less in the middle, maybe a little bit shifted to the right a little bit, but more or less it's going to be in the middle. So we can make our marks right here and right here. Now I'm doing more than what I normally would. I normally just kind of guess it, but I wanted to give you a option if you wanted to be more precise. And so what we've got here is a bit of a triangle, a little bit. And it's just going to come down to here. And we've got and this is going to be the underside of the white onion. And this will be the underside of that yellow onion. And we've got this one coming down here just a little bit as well. Maybe a little bit over there. Okay, so we've got an envelope. And this is about where all of our pieces, all of our objects are going to fit in on this panel. Might be a little bit close to the right hand edge over here. So I can take this very specific, technical, highly specialized tool and erase it. Or I can move it over. This is just a paper towel. These are the blue shop towels that you can get at any, I get them at Home Depot. I think I've seen them at Lowe's. And we can just move that in just a little bit. Because one thing you want to think about is that the frame's going to come in about 1/4 of an inch all the way around. So I want to kind of keep that in mind. And then our table edge is going to fall. It's going to be a little bit low. And so one idea is that we could put it up just a little bit. We could put this up just a little bit and have a little bit more room for the table edge. Or we could kind of move these onions that are a little bit further back. We could move them a little bit closer to our table edge. Okay. So one idea is that we could move this up just a smidgen and move everything up just a little bit. That's one option there, and give a little bit more room. But in either way, we are going to be we have to keep in mind of the proportions, room to breathe, and stuff like that. So try to keep all that in mind as I'm setting all of this up. Okay, so now let's think about the darkest darks in this. Now that I'm pretty happy with this shadow, or pretty happy with the envelope drawing, now we're going to move to the shadow shapes of it. So we're going to go Let's see here. We're going to have some darkness here. And we'll have this. Got some shadows on here and some form shadow. See, this is one of the things that tends to happen with my paintings is they tend to grow. They tend to grow just a little bit. So you can see I've already kind of going up above that just a little bit. And we've got that some of our darkest spots are underneath this lid here. Not lid, but lip. Got some dark spots in here. We've got a dark spot here in the center, kind of where that, I think that may be a little bit of a stain too. Okay. And then we've got this yellow onion. It looks kind of orange or kind of this neat salmon color, really. Top part, that neat top part. It's kind of fun to draw, and it's fun to paint as well. So we've got this shadow here. We'll need to do some more stuff with that. And then we've got since it's a white onion, a little bit lighter shadow here. And then we've got some dark bits underneath here. And you want to make sure that everything is grounded. That's what you want to make sure. Everything is grounded. Because we don't want any UFOs. UFOs are ungrounded floating objects. We don't need any of those in our painting. And then we've got that other yellow onion here. And it's going a little bit in front of our spittoon. Our spittoon is brass, so we're gonna, when we get into the color, we're gonna have some fun aspects of painting that. And I'm working on the drawing of this just a little bit better. And we've got dark in through there. Okay, and we've got next thing I want to do is I'm going to get the value right on this background. And back here, I want it to be darker. It's going to be about the same value as my spittoon. Maybe we'll make it a little bit darker than that. Yeah, we'll make the edge of the spittoon just a little bit lighter. I think that'll be good. We'll do. take as much time on painting this this background, I would encourage you to paint and to spend as much time on it as you want to. I really love painting the background. So I'm definitely going to be coming back to this. That is definitely, I'll be coming back to this. But I want to get this in here just so you can get a sense for how the values are going to work, and we can get on to the next steps. I want to get on to the next steps for you. It's all for you. Now what I did right here was I put in a little bit lighter color, and we're going to go back to our darker value here. And that will be the starting of our glow. Starting of our glow. Now for our tabletop. I'm not going with the lightest color, though I may come in and do a little bit of spots with it. But we're going to start off with this kind of next. It's not white, and it's like 2 steps off of white. That's what it is. Right here, this one. And then going a little bit darker for this table edge here. We've got that pure umber. It's going to be underneath it. Now when we move to other colors, and we've just done the umber as our initial drawing, what the umber does is it helps to neutralize. So the more we kind of dig into the undercoloring of the umber with the color we put on top, the more it's going to neutralize it. So we can use our underpainting in that way. But when we get to the brighter colors, like if we're going to paint oranges or tangerines or lemons, we might have to be careful about that. Okay, and then let's get a little bit of oil here and work this out. Okay, we've got, what we don't want is we don't want that dark value to be holding it up right here. No, we don't want that. And then we need that a little bit more here. Okay. All right, let me go take care of Pete and repeat for just a second. I'll be back. Okay. Now if you haven't watched many of my videos, Pete and Repeat are my 2 dogs. I have a dog that is a chicken who barks at anything, flying bag, a leaf, someone walking on the street, anything. And then he's got a little blind friend who wants to be supportive and barks right there along with him to give him moral support. So, once they get to going, repeat and repeat, reinforce each other. The first one will bark, second one will hear it, will continue the barking. Then the first one thinks, well, the second one, who's blind, must be seeing something and must be barking at something. So then the first one barks again. The second one, who's blind, thinks, oh, there must be something really bad here. Let me keep on barking. So anyways, they repeat and repeat. And sometimes it takes just a little bit of water to get them to kind of get off their obsessiveness. Sometimes I have a cat that likes to come in here and visit. Most of the time he's not very vocal, so that's good. Okay, that's not perfect, but it is alright. Let's have a little more light here, especially here. Yeah, okay. So this is a really good value study here. A value underpainting of white. I'm using lead white and raw umber. Let me hang up my cloths. So we can do some little touches on this if we wanted to. Some more color up here. To get the values here right. Now, one of the things that I can see over in this area is the reflected light, but we're going to do that last. So we're going to paint this as if it's just all shadow, but right in here in the painting or in the still life, we can see some reflected light, and you can see it better in the color painting. as a color photograph. So we've got the darkest darks, we've got the lightest lights. I've got a little bit of something off here with my drawing. I think I need to push this over just a smidgen. I think is what needs to happen. So a lot of this is just kind of stepping back and taking a look at it and seeing, what does this need? What does this need? And one tool for this is very handy is a little mirror. And what I do is I hold it up above my eyes, and then I look up into the painting. With glasses, it's a little bit tricky. Yeah, it's definitely trickier with wearing these glasses. When I wore contacts a lot, it didn't have such a problem. So I've got it kind of resting on the rim of my glasses, and I'm just looking into, holding the mirror like about this, and I'm looking into the mirror and looking at a reflection of this, and it's upside down and backwards. And that fools your eye into thinking that it's something different, and it's the equivalent of going to bed or coming back a week later and looking at it, or the equivalent of looking at someone else's painting. Another trick that I do is I take a photo of my painting. So I take a photo of it, and then I can do different things with it. So I can trim it, I can turn it upside down, and this, by doing that, it helps me to see what is going on in the composition, and if I have any drawing errors. Now, if I've applied color to it, then I am going to turn it into a black and white. But since I really haven't got color in here, I'm not going to do a black and white. But these are just different tricks that you can use to help you to go and see what is going on in the painting. Now, I do have my my shadows done very, very simply, and I can go in here and do just a little bit of fine tuning it. We can add some middle tone here. We wanted to go and do that. So you can spend really as much time as you want on this. And you can really go far into this and do a really nice actual value study and really get some nice variations of this. So you can do what I've done here and add more of different values to it. Just like I did with the onion by itself. Can do that. Or you can leave it open, or just to the white of the panel. You can do either of those when you're doing these studies. Hey, if you have any questions, pop them into our community. We have a section there just for questions. If you are watching this on YouTube and you have some questions, pop them into the comment section. And if you want to watch the rest of this video on how I go into more about values, then follow me on Patreon. Right, so thank you for watching this video. And if you like this video, if you're looking forward to seeing this in color, then join me on my Patreon page. The link is in the description below, and we would love to have you as we dive deeper into values and as we learn about how color and value interact, and how color and value help each other to work better, and how you can create a successful painting. Looking forward to seeing you there. The link is down below, but it's pretty easy. It's patreon.com/ and my name, Corey Dyson. Pretty easy. All right, I'll see you over there.